Hi creatives, welcome to another online class. We'll be creating the multipleated autogele and a multiple bow. So for our materials, we'll be needing our ashoke, our thread, our chalk for marking, our scissors, and our measurement tape. Let's delve into class. So the first step will be taking our measurement. We'll be using 3 lines, that's 3 dasa of ashoke. Okay, we'll be using 3 lines. You can use 4, you can use 5, but I'm using 3 at this point. So, and my measurement is 22 inches for the 3 lines. I'm going to be measuring 22 inches for the 3 lines of ashoke. Okay, so after that, I'm going to place the ashoke on top of each other, like just half an inch on top of each other, and then I'll stitch all the way through, just like you're seeing me do on the video. Okay, you just place it on top of each other and then you stitch it all the way through. After that, it should give you one full, like a full length, all joined together. Then after joining it, you're going to fold the edges of the ashoke so that you can hide the rough edges of your ashoke. Okay, so after doing all of that, you start to form your pleat. You can see how I'm showing you how to stitch it. Then you fold the edges. That's to give you a very neat work. So after that, we'll be forming our pleats. This is what it looks like after I've folded my edges and I've joined the dasa together, each of the dasas together. So I'm forming the first pleat. I'm just going to take 1 inch and fold it in, just like you see me do. I can pin down, then I'm going to sew on top of it. Make sure your stitches are very neat. Okay, you're going to sew straight on top of that line you have folded, and then you go ahead to form the next pleat. As you're forming the next pleat, make sure that it is covering the first stitch that you have made. If once you pick it up to fold it, make sure it covers the first pleats or the first stitch that you have made on the ashoke. Please, do you understand? You go ahead to form the third, the fourth. If you have 4 dasas joined together, you should have up to 5 or 6 pleats. But for me, I'll be using 4 pleats on this one because I have just 3 dasas. Now, this piece of fabric is for my handle. Okay, it's measured 14 inches. You can use 13, you can use 14. Sorry, this is 13 inches. I'm going to divide it into 2 and then fold like so. You're going to hide all the rough edges and you're going to fold it just like you see me do after dividing it into 2, and then you stitch on both ends. After forming your pleat, you stitch on both ends. Now this piece of ashoke we have is the one we're going to use to form the multiple pleats. I have 4 lines here, 4 dasa here. That is what I'm using. You can use 5, you can use 6, depending on how high you want it to be. But for me, I'm using just 4. And each of the 4 have different measurements because I want each one bigger than each other so that it can give me a perfect curve that will go round the head at the back. The first one is measured 23 inches. I'm using 23 inches. The next is measured 25 inches. The third one is measured 28 inches and the last one is measured 30 inches. So I'm using 23, 25, 28 and 30 inches because I'm using 4 dasa. You can increase yours if you're using more than 4 dasa. That is to give it a very good height, but I'm okay with my height. So I'm just going to join them, put them on top of each other just like you're seeing me do, and then I'll join them together. But noting the middle, you're going to note the midpoint so that you can have excesses on both sides after joining. So you place it middle to middle and then you stitch on top of each other just like you're seeing me show you in this class. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So now this is what my pleated base looks like. This is the base. This is what it looks like, perfectly pleated. You can see that the stitches are hidden. You can see I've also attached my handle. At this point, I'll be trying to figure out the midpoint. I'll be marking the middle of this base. Now, after marking the middle, I'm going to attach that joined 4 pieces for the crown. I'm going to attach it to the base. You can form your pleats separately, but I like attaching it to the base. It helps me walk comfortably. So after finding the midpoint, I'm going to mark 4 inches to the left and 4 inches to the right, just like you're seeing in the class. Okay, after doing that, I'll pick my four layers that I want to use for the crown. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to find the midpoint. I'll fold it like I want to form a fresh pleat, and then I'll place it on the base. Just watch closely and then you get to understand exactly what I mean. Okay, so after marking the midpoint, I'm just going to place it on top of the base, middle to middle, and then I will stitch all the way through to the point where I marked 4 inches. Okay, I don't know if you're getting me, but if you have any questions, please put it down in the comment section. You can see what I'm doing there. So from the midpoint, you stitch it to the first 4 inches mark, and then you curve a little to the edge of the base. That's to help you achieve that curve. You know, the head has this rounded shape, so that's to help you achieve that curve on your autogele. Do you understand? Whatever you do to this side, you do it to the other side. Okay, just like you're seeing me do. So next, this piece of fabric is just for the bow design. I'm using 3 pieces. You can use 4, you can use 2, and then you can decide to increase the measurement or you can reduce it. But for me, I'm using 28 inches and 3 pieces. That's 3 dasers for 28 inches. I'm just, after taking my measurement, I'm just going to fold it together to close it up, just like you're seeing me do. I folded it together and then I'll just close it up to give a loopy kind of look, so that I can identify the middle, and then from the middle I'm going to form my pleats, just like you see me do. Watch closely. By then you have stitched it, remember, and then so you just figure out where your midpoint is, and then you run stitches there. You can form pleats, you can do a running stitch there and pull together to form the bow. So I'm using 3. After forming this bow, I'm going to arrange them how I prefer. You can put them on top of each other. You can put them side by side, depending on how you like it to look. So this is what I am trying to explain here. So at this point now, I want to create the layered pleats on top. That is the crown part of my autogele. Okay, so now you see what it looks like after attaching the crown to my base. You see how it's looking like it's very fine, and you see the curve because of the curve of the head. Some people prefer to start forming their pleats from the midpoint, but I like to start from the edge. It gives me a kind of comfort. It gives me this I'm able to walk around my ashoke easily when I start from the edge. I can manipulate my fabric very well. So how you form this plate is that you just continue layering it on top of each other, piling it. Once you take a fold, you pile it on top of each other like you're folding your t-shirts at home. If you're new to our channel, do well to subscribe, click the like button and share. If you have any questions, to drop it in the comment section. I'll be waiting and ready to answer your questions. So you continue just layering it. Once you pick your pleats, you layer it. Once you pick your pleats, you layer it. You just pile it on top of each other as if you are folding your clothes. That's what you keep doing until you walk through the full length of your crown. Remember, I said I am using 4 layers. You can use 5, you can use 6, you can use 7, depending on how high you want it to be. okay, but this is what I have available and this is what I'm working with. So you continue. As you're doing that, as you're forming your pleat from the edge, you work it all the way to the midpoint, just like you're seeing me do. Just pay attention, watch closely, you understand what I'm trying to explain. You walk it straight to the middle. From that middle, you walk it down to the other end. Okay, as you're forming, you're walking it to the middle, and from the midpoint you walk it to the other end. Okay, you just keep piling it up until you get to the end of your fabric. You have exhausted your fabric. At this point, you just get your needle and thread, matching needle and thread. Make sure you use a matching needle, a matching thread to stitch. Okay, so at that point where I'm trying to arrange, that's where you're going to stitch. You're going to hold it down there. Remember that you keep arranging. This is a multi-layered pleat, so you just keep arranging and arranging and arranging. Make sure it's on the same line and it's looking very neat. So you're just going to hold that point down, walk your pleats, trace your pleats to the middle, and then trace it to the other end, and then you stitch it down also. Okay, so that's what I've just done. I walked my pleats to the midpoint and to the end. At this point, I've gotten to the end and I'm attaching my handle to the crown. You also attach a handle to the crown. So the measurement of the handle I used here is same 14 inches. I folded one edge and I attached it. I stitched it down to the rough part. This is also to enable it stay firm on the head, and then you can use it to cover these rough edges too. If the rough edges is too much, you can cut it out. So this is what it looks like after you have closed the two edges with your handle. You now take your matching color of thread and needle and run stitches in between the pleats to hold the pleats down. Run it all the way from one end to the other end. Okay, at this point I'm going to be forming my bows just like you are seeing me do. I folded it. I'm trying to locate the midpoint, and from there I'm going to make my running stitch, or you form pleats in the middle and then you stitch it down. After doing that, I'm going to do that to the rest of the fabrics. Remember, I have 3 dazzers and that 3 dazzers is measured 28. You can decide to use 2, you can decide to use 4, depending on how big you want it to be. So this is me just layering it. I want to place one on top of the other, then I'll add the third one to it. My client loves it, you know, very gorgeous and very big. So that is what. So I got this extra fabric so that I can use it to close the midpoint where I stitched the bow. So you can arrange how you like. Now check out our finished work. This looks very beautiful. Thank you for stopping by. See you next time.